Hi everyone, it's Lily. I'm back for the daily boost, and this is what pushing through feeling crap looks like. I've been poorly. I've been poorly for, well, I don't know, a few days anyway, and this would have been a reason way back when, or maybe not even way back when, actually probably quite recently. This would have been a reason not to show up, not to do these videos, to just go, oh, so you can't do it because I'm feeling naff or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I wanted to say that first up, not so that you shower me with sympathy or anything like that, but so that you see that it's what we think is not always true. Because I'm feeling a bit meh. Does it mean I can't bring you the daily boost? Oh, hell no, it doesn't. And actually, I went to write out 7 new topics because here's a little snapshot into my process. I plan to do 7 videos every Thursday, except today's Friday because this week was different. But anyway, I plan to do 7 videos. And so I wanted to write out the 7 topics. And as I did before, I was just going to write the topic, do the video, boom, done. I got 20. It's even feeling like crap when you just show up anyway. Sometimes the flow happens. Now, physically, my voice may not hold out, or I might start coughing like a fool. So if I do, then these won't all be done today. But you don't care. You're only watching this daily boost. And this daily boost is all about why we repeat negative cycles. So by negative cycle, I just mean any behavior that you do that you can see doesn't help or doesn't serve you, or in some way it's just not a good thing. So it could be negative cycle with how you handle your money, could be a negative cycle in how you communicate with members of your family, partners, friends, whatever. Could be it could be partners themselves. If you find that you have partner after partner after partner that is just like loser after loser after loser, then why do you repeat that negative cycle, right? So the reason I want to talk about why is because I think so often we'll beat ourselves up because we'll recognize that we're in a negative cycle. You'll recognize that your last 5 boyfriends or girlfriends were utter twonks, but then you'll spin it back on yourself and you'll go, oh, why do I keep letting idiots like that into my life? Why do I keep spending all my money? Or why do I keep not saving? Or why do I keep, like, you know, for me, certainly around money, I've beaten myself up so many times. Like, why do I keep doing these things even though I know how it's going to end up? Why do we do that? Well, I'm going to give you a mixture of what I've learned from reading books and watching people and listening, etc. And actually what I've learned personally, having done it a bunch of times. I think why we repeat negative cycles, number 1 is habit. It's just habit. So it's nothing to beat yourself up about. It's a habit. And when you're in a habit, you'll do it without even thinking about it. A habit means it's something you just do and you don't really give it a second thought. So in that case, you are not actually doing it to yourself. I mean, we do it to ourselves, right? But it's not like you're getting up in the morning and going, I know what would be really fun. Why don't I completely screw myself over for money once again? I know what would be really great. Why don't I go on Tinder and go and hit up all the people that I just know are going to end up being complete losers? Why don't I continue to have these relationships with people who don't see my brilliance? Or, you know, whatever it might be for you. That's not what you're doing, is it? You're not doing that, but you are subconsciously acting in the same way again and again, and it's just habit. So this is why I've spoken before about the power of the mindset, the power of changing thoughts, sometimes just the power of being aware, because even awareness means you've shifted, because as soon as you're aware of something, now the power's back with you, right? So I think, number 1, habit. Number 2, and this is probably not like a super popular opinion, and it isn't just my opinion. I read about this first before I realised it was true for myself. But in some way, shape or form, that pattern of behaviour keeps you feeling safe. Now, that might not make sense if what you're doing is running out of money every other day so that you can't feed yourself, right? How is that safe? That might not feel true for you if you constantly are in relationships where the other person is damaging you in some way, physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever it may be. That may not feel safe either. So when I say your behavior is keeping you safe, it may not resonate if anything about your negative behavior is actually making you feel unsafe. But what I mean by that is, I guess it comes back to habit again. You're safe in that experience. In other words, you know what to expect. You know who you are when you're struggling. You know who you are when you're in the bad relationship. You know who you are when you're in the crappy job, whatever it may be. So although it doesn't feel good, and although it may not be actually safe, there is a level of safety because there's a level of familiarity for you. And when you think about the alternative, the truth is you just don't know. You don't know if that's safer or not. So, and I'm talking about you as in your subconscious you, so in the back of your mind. You don't know what that looks like. And so actually, it's sometimes scarier to break out of the negative pattern, even though you know it's a negative pattern and even though you don't want to do it. So I think we repeat these negative cycles for many other reasons. You know, you may have grown up watching parents go through these cycles. That might be why you do it. You may have friends that are in the same cycles, and that may be why you do it. You may watch programs on TV or films or read books or articles or whatever, and that may be why you do it. At the end of the day, why we do it is only part of the puzzle. It's good to know why. It's good to ask yourself why. If you are recognizing that you're in a negative cycle right now, so stop everything right now. Think about where you are at in your life in the key areas: finances, career, relationships, fun, health, wellness. And what are your experiences in each one of those categories? And are there any negative cycles you can think of? I'm guessing probably so, right? So, number one, acknowledge, are there any negative patterns happening in your life right now? If so, why do you think that's happening? Why are you in that negative cycle? Now, here's where I want you to take care. I've just been doing an exercise that I'm going to share with you actually, just around something that came up for me today, and I'm just going to share it because it feels good to do. But when you recognize you have a negative cycle and you ask yourself why, pay close attention to why you think you're in that negative cycle. Because what comes out of your mouth or what comes through your mind, once you've asked that question, is going to be the key to why you're stuck there in the first place. So if you're saying, oh, well, yeah, I have a bad experience with money because I wasn't very good at maths when I was at school. We didn't have a lot of money growing up. My friends have never got any money, like blah, 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 blah. That might all be true, but when you just take that as truth and almost as something that can't be changed, it's like you're placing an order for more of the same to come. Does that make sense? So when we make these excuses for ourselves and go, yeah, okay, well, yeah, I'm in a negative cycle with my fitness because I just can't stick to a diet and I don't enjoy exercising actually. And, and I really like cake. Well, good, okay. But that's you going back around in the cycle. That's you making it okay. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say you can't do that. It's your friggin' life. It's your life. I'm talking to those of you who are in a negative cycle and you actually want to get out of it. At some point, you're going to have to call bullshit on your own excuses. You're going to have to call bullshit on that story that you're telling. So here's a little exercise. This isn't the one I was going to share. I'll share that in a minute, but here's an exercise for you. I want you to write down, relative to your negative cycle, write down the story that led to you getting to that place now. So if it's relationships, tell the story of how you've wound up in this negative cycle. And then have a look at what you've written and then ask yourself, if this was an area of my life that was 100% nailed, that I wasn't in any negative cycles, or if anything negative showed up, I could just bat it away, what would my story look like then? And then write that story. Okay, that's a powerful thing you can do. The exercise I was going to tell you about is one I did today. So I found myself today getting in a bit of a funk about money. It's normal and natural for me. See? That's what we do. Now, I've just caught that, and that wasn't a trick. I wasn't trying to demonstrate anything. That is literally what fell out of my mouth, because I'm so used to being stuck in that place. This has become a live stream about money, and it wasn't meant to be. It's not even a live stream. You know what I mean? Is this meant to be another daily boost? Possibly. There is a daily boost coming up about money. I'm going to go deeper into my practices there. But all I wanted to say today, just because this is a negative cycle for me, what I did was, first of all, I wrote out everything that was in my head at the time. So that tends to be just the negative thoughts, right? I just dumped it into a journal. What I then did was I articulated what I wanted instead. So I was like, right, forget all that right now. What do I actually want? And I wrote that down. And then I wrote out, well, actually, it was a two-part thing. I started to write out affirmations. And not because I think affirmations are magic, and not because I think affirmations are going to change anything, because I actually wanted to remind myself of what I truly do believe. Because it's very, very easy to get caught up in the negative thinking when you're in that space. And I didn't want to stay there. So I was like, okay, these are the negative thoughts, but what do I actually believe? What do I really, truly believe? Because that's not it. That's just the pity party happening right now. And I started to write that out. And then as I was writing out the affirmations, negative thoughts were coming up. So for example, I started writing out things like, there are always more ways in which money can come to me. I'm infinitely supported. Money is easy, money is fun, and stuff like that, right? Then I started to get these beliefs coming in. Well, yeah, no, money's not fun because blah, 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 blah. So then I was writing out, as the belief was interrupting me, I would stop writing my affirmations, I would go to a new page, and I would write out that belief that showed up. Then I wrote down, is that ultimately true? Then I wrote what I actually believed was ultimately true. So is that ultimately true? No, not at all. Here we go. So one of the things was, these invoices won't be paid today. So I've got invoices that I've sent out that people are due to pay me for. And I realised as I was doing them, I was constantly saying, they won't be paid today. That's not going to get paid today. So I wrote down, is that ultimately true? No, of course it's not ultimately true. They could easily be paid today. The fact is, it doesn't really matter if they are or they're not, because when it comes to money, there are infinite ways it can come in. That's for another training. But is this ultimately true? It just reminded me, that thing I was hanging on to in that moment that I thought was absolute truth actually isn't. It was just the thought I was having in that moment. But they can be so powerful if we can't shift them around. So just to bring it back, I mean, God, didn't this go on a tangent? And this is twice as long as the daily boost is supposed to be. Why do we repeat negative cycles? Because it's habit, because we don't know any better. But once you know better, you can change everything. So why you're in a negative cycle, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but it's not the be all and end all. And you can shift out of that. So I hope that helps for today. Go find more daily boosts if you want support in any other area. There's a whole butt ton more coming up as well. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.